You're listening to Every Day's a Saturday USMC Veteran Podcast.
Now introducing your host of Every Day's a Saturday USMC Veteran, the one-man show, Brian Roof.
What's going on, friends and fam? Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another great interview, and it's a great day as usual. If it's not, let's make it better. And let's not forget to check on our friends, our loved ones. Don't forget there's the crisis lifeline down below, 988. And for the veterans out there, press 1. And you can talk to someone discreetly, or feel free to shoot me an email. I'm always here as well. And I don't mind dropping my phone number to anybody that needs, some kind of help or someone to talk to. Just reach out and we'll see what we can do. All right. We're going to go and we're going to have another great interview today. I'm excited for my next guest. He is from the Army and National Guard. He wasn't ready to be a Marine yet, and then we won't hold it against him. It's okay. He may not like crayons. Not everybody does. But I'm excited to have him on. He's doing some great things today. If you guys ever heard of Crime Stoppers, you're going to get to hear a lot more all about that. And here all to talk all about that and himself is Rob Santarsiero. I'm probably screwed that up, but
everybody does.
Man, I was like, oh gosh, I forgot to ask him how to say that.
Everybody does that.
So yeah, can you correct me on that and let me know how it was said?
Santarsiero.
Okay. Yeah, I just probably got to get the pronunciation better. I failed Spanish and all that stuff, so my stuff is bad.
Mine too. Trust me.
But hey, Rob, I'm excited to have you on, man. And one of the great things about this show is we get to talk about all the great things that we did and all the great things that we got going on. I love to give our veterans and first responders a place to kind of talk about their stories because it's so important for others to hear these stories. I wish we would have had some of these podcasts during the World War, eras and stuff like that. We're starting to get some stories that, here and there and from even the Vietnam era. But let's go ahead and learn all about you, man. Where'd you grow up and what made you decide to, join and let us know about your career and all that stuff?
Well, born in Fort Huachuca, Arizona, home of Army intelligence. I grew up in the Northeast, outside of Scranton, Pennsylvania, in Poconos. And, what got me into it? The only two things I ever wanted to be was a soldier and a cop. And I think I did pretty well with both of those. One thing of any career, it never goes the way that you kind of thought it would.
Right. There's always that, bump in the road or that fork in the road that makes you veer off.
It's always something.
Sure.
Now, I never went to, I didn't go to the Corps, but I actually did think about going to the Navy because when I first, I was 86, 87 when Top Gun came out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That was the other thing that I wanted to do was fly.
Oh,
and man, that was it. That was Navy. And I went to the Navy recruiter. I did pretty good on all of the tests, but they said, no, you're going to be a nuke guy. You're going to go to nuke school. No, that's not what I want to do. No, that's what we need you. Now screw you. That's
Right.
not what I want.
Yeah, you were smart about that, huh?
Yeah, I ended up, and it's so long ago. I know some listeners will remember the big gold record that the recruiters had, the laser discs from way back when.
Oh, sheesh.
Yeah, that's when it was. And I told them I just wanted to do something cool. I didn't want to be an MP. I wanted to do something cool. And he said, you want to do something cool? Okay, I got something cool. He pulls this disc out, throws it in the player, and I see a C-130 coming in to land on his dirt strip with a ramp down. And as he touches down, here comes a dune buggy and a couple of motorcycles roaring out the back. And it was 19 Delta Cav Scout reconnaissance. And I said, That's it. That's what I want to do. That's some cool shit. I want to do that. And it was 25 years later before I even saw a C-130 up close. Never did see a dune bug. But yeah, that's how that started.
Nice. So, where did you go to training and all that stuff?
First time around was 19 Delta. That was Fort Knox, Kentucky, OSUT, and that was right before I was telling you earlier. Right before I went to basic, I tore my rotator cuff playing football or something. I don't remember when. And the recruiter said, "No, go. You'll be fine." Yeah, I wasn't fine. So they choppered me out there, and then I got into law enforcement. I got actually into private investigations and private security. Met my wife. We got married, and then it was a few years after that. It was 95, I think it was. I got a waiver, and I went back in, but I went into the Guard.
Now, when you went into the Guard, what did you have to was that, what's that? It was 2 weeks active a year or something like that? And
Yeah.
1 week in a month?
Yeah, one week in a month, 2 weeks in the summer for the annual training, AT we called it. We deployed a bunch of times though with here in Texas, the national unit that I was with. We supported Texas Task Force 1, the Urban Search and Rescue Team at Texas A&M is where I live. We supported them with all their heavy lift when they were starting their Urban Search and Rescue Team. So we deployed a lot with hurricanes and floods and tornadoes, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I imagine in those regions over there, I think they're going through like a hurricane or something right now in Texas, aren't they?
It just rolled through here. The eye wall of that thing went, maybe 10 miles that way from us. We got lucky. We were on the right side of it. It went east of us instead.
Were you guys getting a lot of downpour and all that stuff?
We got some, but we ended up on the west side of it. And if it had gone to our west side, we were on the east side. Yeah, we would have got a lot more.
Now, is there a lot of damage over there from all this?
There's some damage, yes. A lot of trees down, a lot of power lines. There's, I think around to Houston, from here towards Houston, there's probably still 1 million people without power. And that's going to go on for a few days.
Right. So when you guys would usually do, aid and stuff, did they usually guys send you guys out in groups of,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When we were doing that kind of stuff, we'd go out with, it'd be a whole composite team. We got the high water vehicles, the high water capable vehicles. So we were able to get into a lot of those areas. I remember being on CNN probably back in the late 90s. It was a great shot though. I was coming up out of the water leading horses out. I mean, it was.
That's great, man. Yeah. Well, I imagine that had to be quite the experience, right? Because I don't think when you go to enlist, you were ever thinking you're going to be doing some kind of search and rescue here at stateside, right? That's not really a thought.
It's typically not, but it is. It's part of the National Guard skill set, and it's it's one of the things that we train for, and we can bring some pretty unique capabilities to the civilian side of the house when needed. When the space shuttle, when Columbia went down in East Texas, I actually watched that one. I was taking a PT test that day, and we watched that one come overhead over Bryan College Station as it was breaking up, and we were out there doing recovery with NASA and FBI and a million other agencies.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
man. Like I said, that probably wasn't even a thought in your head at first. Now, is the National Guard the Army's reservist, or is there a total separate? Is National Guard different from reservist?
It is. It is totally different. National Guard and Army Reserves are two totally separate things. Army reserves are federal 100% of the time. And they're usually specialty units like MPs, like military support hospitals, intelligence, all sorts of support stuff. All of the reserve, or the vast majority of the reserve, I say reserves as a broad blanket, the reserve combat capability is actually in the National Guard. We were 49th Armored back then. It's 36th Infantry now. And those units have histories going back, to World War II and prior. But all the combat capability, the vast majority of it's all in the National Guard. And state time, during peacetime, it's all under the command of the governor of the state. So, that's whenever we're federally deployed for Iraq, for example. Those are what we call Title 10 missions. Those are that's when we're federally paid.
Got it. That's interesting. Yeah, that's something I really never knew. Because in the Marine Corps, I'm only pretty much used to active or reservist.
Right.
And so I didn't really quite understand that part. And I guess it makes a lot of sense. And I especially in terms of if we were to get I know that the National Guard, when you go by their place, they got trucks. I mean, they got a lot of. I'm sure there's an armory in there. I mean, I'm sure they're fully equipped and ready to go. Because I mean, we do got to be ready here on the. I mean, if we have guys deployed, we still got to protect ourselves, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Always and forever. So now, do you have any memorable experiences while you were, where you're in that really sticks out to you the most?
There are times when in the Guard, sometimes fun stuff, being a scout, and then later on, I changed MOS to medic, but I was medic with the scouts, and that's really all I wanted to do. We go out for a weekend doing drills, and if we're coming back in clean, well, what the hell you guys been doing out in the woods all this time? We'll find a big mud puddle and we'll just start wrestling, looking each other up, just to come back in looking like we actually did something for a weekend. But we during there's memorable moments with some of the search and rescue stuff that we did with the stuff we did with Task Force 1, the stuff we did with actually I've got some stuff around here. I've been building a new office here. I came across some stuff from the Columbia when Columbia crashed. And I've got some things that, probably shouldn't have from those days, but you'd be surprised all the agencies that were out there helping us with that stuff.
I imagine, man, because I mean, there's some really sensitive stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, and we treat that with any major plane crash. They'll go into wherever they got to go to get what they got to get, because there's some things we just don't want others knowing, so but yeah, I get that. I mean, and that's probably the cool part though, right? Like, you guys get to be a part of certain things, see things, and there's an ugly part, I imagine, too, to search and rescue, but there's also kind of the cool part where there's equipment that a lot of people probably don't know about, or things like that you don't necessarily get to see, and you're like, whoa, all right, that's great.
Yeah. Well, it's I was really, really impressed with the way all the agencies came together and what we were able to accomplish out there. And what was it, 2 weeks, I guess we were doing what we did. It was the craziest police call you'll ever see in your life.
I could imagine. I think that's one thing that's intricate about the military in general is we could play well with others if we have to, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
we can, if I got to see this when we deployed over to the Middle East, everybody coming together, not even just Americans, but like the UK, the Australians, all them, we were all based together
Yeah.
and we all had one common mission, right? And it was kind of neat to see everybody come together, right? Because we to this point didn't get to play with each other much, right? We all played in our own boxes, and then they let us all out. We're like, well,
Yeah.
shit, yeah.
Yeah. It, I've worked with British SAS. I've worked with SEALs. I've worked with our own SF. I worked with a bunch of Marines, a number of times. I've worked with. We had my second tour in Baghdad. I worked with U.S. Treasury agent
Wow.
and it was Treasury. A guy from that was my first tour. Was a guy from Three Para and the South African counterterrorism guy, but they were both contractors. We had it when we were fielding the Rhinos and the Dukes and all that stuff with the IEDs we were facing. We had Navy EWAR guys, pilots, embedded with us. It's just
Wow. Yeah.
it's a crazy world. You take you take whatever help you can get from wherever you get it, and it worked. It worked.
Yeah, we had cars that had NATO all written on them, and I
Yeah,
mean, we were sitting here going with NATO, and man, yeah, it is awesome when you see the different agencies when they come together and they actually can work together.
yeah,
Sometimes you do have agencies that work against each other, unfortunately, too. There's always that too, but it is
yeah,
the beautiful thing is when you see it come together and everybody's like, "Hey, man, we're all here for the same mission," and
yeah.
we I I got to trade a lot with Australians and Brits. I was in supply guy, so we were
Yeah.
we kind of had stuff. We had MREs. We'd like trade them different MREs. Like, hey,
Right, right.
let's try your MRE. All right, here's our MRE. And man, it is different. Like theirs came with like little tea packets and nice little folded. Theirs were so proper, right? And here's
Yeah.
ours just stuffed into a bag.
It's like, wait a
Uh,
second, who designed yours? Would we need to hire him?
yeah, right. Gosh dang, this is like a gourmet meal inside theirs. It's all like, yeah, ours is like, wow, bro, let me throw this in this MRE heater and
Yeah, yeah.
uh yeah, good times. But yeah, man, I mean, how long were you in the National Guard?
7 or so years.
7 years, yeah.
Yeah, I did a lot of stuff, but 9/11, 9/11, I got called up. Actually, by noon that day, I had 2 sets of bags packed because I don't know, am I going? Because I was doing SWAT stuff back then too. Am I doing? Is the sheriff's office going to call me up, or is the guard calling me up? I got green and I got black. They're packed and ready to go. Who's going to call first? Ended up being the National Guard. When the decision was made, how we're going to reopen the airspace and get our airlines back up and running. Putting the National Guard out there, I ended up getting called up for that, and I was in charge of the security detachment here at Easterwood Airport, College Station.
Wow.
That led to me working with the FAA, and I still remember the guy's Aubrey. I can't remember his last name, but it was Aubrey. Was the FAA special agent out of Houston that oversaw this region, and he said, "Hey, this new bunch that they just elected or start this new federal agency that's going to oversee airport security. They're looking for people," and he sent me a link, and yeah, next thing you know, I'm flying out to LA, and a couple days later, they offered me a job. So I helped build. I was one of the first 400 actual hires of the agency. They had the political appointees, the admiral, Coast Guard admiral from New York City that ran the maritime evacuation of Manhattan. He was the first. I think he was the first one, the first director of transportation security. And I was on a team that went all over the place, all over the world, doing, well, from here to Maui, at least.
Wow.
Doing airport security. Did that for a year or so. And I got a funny story if you want to hear it, actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, man.
So after, so I'm back here after we reopened all the airports. That was when Columbia went down. A few months after that, we're invading Iraq, and I'm honest to God, I'm sitting here thinking, what the hell is my National Guard unit doing? We've at the airports, and we're not. Well, come on, this is where all the action is, you know. And I was still relatively young at the time. I was 32, 33, and that's where all the action is. I want to go. I want to be where the action is. And so I put into my unit, said, look, I want to leave the Guard. I want to go active duty. And they said, you're nuts. Well, okay, I'm nuts, but I'm that's where the action is. That's where I want to go. And so we did it. Got on active duty October 1st. Our report to Fort Hood. All right. So I couldn't get, first Cav was about to deploy. I couldn't get in with them. I ended up with 18th COSCOM at the time. I deployed with them the following year. But I can't remember if I was on the main body or the ADVON. I think I was main body. I think the my National Guard unit's ADVON was flying with me. The unit that I said, what the hell are you guys doing? You're never going anywhere. And sure enough, they're on my flight with me. They were doing the WMD search.
Oh, shit. Stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I ended up at the Baghdad Police Academy.
Oh, shit. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just how coincidental and small world things are.
That's, yeah. Yeah, we could talk coincidental all day long. You know, it's
oh yeah,
for as big as the military is, it's a small world.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I was shocked how many guys. It's crazy. When I was actually in Kuwait at Camp Commando, I actually ran into a dude that I went to like K through 5th grade or something with him, elementary school, and I was tripping out, man. Like out of all places in the world. And then I actually ran into a guy that I went to high school with over there as well. And they were both Marines, and I was just tripping out because I didn't even know. For one, the one guy I'd lost contact with for years. Yeah. But you know, he was always a good friend of mine, and I was just like, Brian? And he was like, Brian? Because you know, we're both named Brian, and man, we were tripping out because we literally ran into each other in line at one of those like food trucks that came on to the camp. And I'm just sitting there waiting in line, and I like turn back and I'm like, no way can that be? yeah. And it sure shit, I was just like, what? And man, that was a crazy run into, and kind of the same incidents, except they did fight days on Camp Commando before things really popped off there. Yeah. They would have these Sunday fights where you could sign up, and then they weighed you in, and you had to wear the helmet and the gloves. Yeah. And then you would go in, and they would do a boxing match and all that stuff. So I'm watching the Sunday fights that day, and they announced the fighters, and I'm like, no shit, dude. I went to high school with this dude, Donald. And and he's up there getting ready to fight, and he goes out there and he ends up having to fight an MP guy, and the MP guy got him pretty good. I mean, the dude was a big old MP,
Yeah.
just tall and had that reach on him. But when the fight was over, I went up to him, and it was just crazy, man. Out of all the places in the world, I run into them over there, right? And that's why it is a small world.
It is. It really, really is. I ran into a bunch that, holy shit, I remember you from like AIT. Where the hell you been the last 10 years?
Right?
Like, you're still in?
that? Yeah, yeah.
Wait, you're an officer now? What the hell?
Yeah, it's crazy. I've been out, shoot, it's going on 20 years. Yeah, since 2004 I've been out, and
Jeez.
found out that the sergeant major of the Marine Corps was a staff sergeant that I had served with over in Supply Battalion at Camp Pendleton. I was like, what? When I saw the announcement,
Yeah.
I was tripping out, man, because for one, he was a staff sergeant when I was like a lance corporal. So
Yeah.
for him to still be in, I mean, he's looking already close to 30 years or so.
Yeah.
And so I was just tripping, like there's still guys in when I was in, right? Because a lot of them are probably either going to start to retire now or already did. But
the last sergeant major of the Army was my battalion sergeant major for my first platoon sergeant job at 10th Mountain.
Gosh dang, that is nuts, man.
It is.
So you did in all between the National Guard and in active duty, how much time did you end up doing?
About 21 years.
Wow. All right, so that's a decent amount of years, man.
It was a good chunk. It was a good chunk. Yeah. And I was fortunate, a lot of those National Guard years, I was a cop here.
Right. And so did they let you retire and everything and allow you to bridge everything?
That actually is going to come when I'm 60. Because I got the points, but nobody ever does it the way I did it. So the systems don't catch up. I'll probably get a reserve, retirement out of it.
I got you. That's crazy. Yeah, because I mean, you would think that you'd kind of be able to allow it to kind of smash together. And
yeah, I would have stayed in, but my second tour, I got blown off the roof of a gun truck and screwed up my back. And that's actually because I was injured. I was fighting through it, but I was surviving. That was it. I couldn't get promoted from that point on. But yeah, it eventually caught up with me.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% now. So it was last year when I hit 100% with the VA. That was it. I just hung it up.
Yeah. No. And it's kind of a relief once you do that. That way, you kind of get secure some, money coming in, and you don't really have to worry about like things as much. It's
yeah.
It's good that you're able to get 100%, and you got it pretty quick, I would say, huh?
Well,
or
it was,
did you have to fight for it?
Not really. It was 2016 when they med boarded me, and that was actually great. That's because I never worked intelligence, and they loaned me out to DEA in Waco.
Wow.
And so I did 6 months with them, and that's where I kind of started learning that piece. And that's what I've done ever since. But yeah, they came back they said I was going to be rated at 80%. And when it was all finally said and done, they upped it to 90%. And then last year, my meeting with the VA, they ended up with the PTSD and shit. They said it was really like almost no work on my end. Good VA rep here with the county, and she did all the paperwork before I even realized it was done. And yeah, they said you're 100% done.
And, I think they've done a lot better job at recognizing PTSD and stuff like that. Cause I mean, I think for years and years, it took a long time. And there
Yeah.
was a lot of guys out there trying to prove to everyone that they had PTSD. Right. And I mean, they're pounding their fist and banging their heads against the wall, you know,
Yeah.
losing jobs and all that kind of stuff. Um, and finally, I think someone recognized, hey, you know what, this has been a problem, and it's been a problem that we've been ignoring or not acknowledging for a long time. Because I do notice that there's a lot of guys that are starting to get recognized for PTSD,
Yeah.
right? And that I think it's taken years and years for that to happen. And like I said, it's always that got to keep going back, and then it's just one of those things. They make you kind of go through the windmill, so to
Yeah.
speak.
We've never really understood it. I mean,
Right.
look at every war. There's always they call it shell shock. They call it whatever you want to
Sure.
call it. Yeah, there's
Yep.
100 different names for it, but it's not until the last few decades that we've actually got some technology now and some
Right.
better understanding of what is it that's actually going on. And I'll be honest with you, yeah, I got PTSD, but I'm a hell of a lot better spot than a lot of guys. I'm a big fan. You're familiar with retired Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman.
I'm not sure.
He wrote a book back in the 90s called On Killing. And he was a psychology. He taught psychology at West Point when he was a Ranger. But he started delving into the psychology of combat. And two books that I highly recommend: On Killing and On Combat. On Killing is really the psychological effects that you can expect, because everybody goes through it. It's perfectly normal for it to happen, for you to feel these things. And then On Combat is really how to prepare yourself before. And when I was for my soldiers, that was required reading. That was my reading list. You got to be prepared. And I thought I was very well prepared. And I think I was, but I still went through that. Okay.
Right.
It happens. It is normal and natural.
It's nothing really you can control. And most folks that have or suffer from anxiety, depression, anxiety don't want it, right? And
No.
they don't know how to control it, or they have other underlying factors that they haven't dealt with, or they're not dealing with, that are still inhibiting those kind of factors, right? Because that happens a lot too when that you have things going clogged up here. Anything that comes in your way is going to make things a lot harder for yourself.
That's
right. So I mean, it is good to see that they're finally starting to. I think there's science, and there's studies, and there's just been a lot of things that they've been able to do, because like you said, there's always been some kind of a label for it, right? But it's still one of those things that you need to be tough, and you need to suck it up, and you need to get through it, all those kind of things that you're like, well, I'm trying, you know what I mean? But tell me how to not lose my mind 0 to 60, or how to, when there's a boom and a bang that I am not expecting, tell me how I'm just going to just ignore it, right? Like, we're trained, when we hear certain noises, that's a trigger for us to do certain things, right? Now, that's like, if you hear a boom or a bang, it's hit the deck, or, run. You hear a gun pop, hit the deck. You know what I mean?
How do you turn that off?
Yeah, these kind of things we're super trained to do, right? And one of the biggest things that I think I'm coming up to, and maybe it's changing, and hopefully they'll get there, is there's no transition for us when we get out. Especially the guys that served in the 80s. I mean, way prior to the 2010s and earlier, and maybe even as more recent and lower. But for the guys that are serving and stuff now, hopefully they're getting more of that education as they're getting out. Like, hey, pay attention to these factors,
I
pay
hope.
attention to these kind of things. Because the worst part about it is we all go get ourselves into love and a wife, and then we start having kids if you didn't already have them while you were in, and you just haven't even dealt with anything, right? I'm out in the real world, so now I got to do this and this, right? I got to go get this job, get the family going, and
Yeah.
it's this whole thing that everybody kind of goes through. There's no soft blow for us, right? It's like, shut the door on your ass. You're no good to us no more. Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Here's your DD-214.
DD-214, go.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And or you'll get your DD-214 in the mail.
Yeah.
I hope they can change that, right? Because that part needs to be acknowledged. So that way, when guys are getting out, I think they don't want them running to the VA. I don't know what it is. I couldn't tell you, but you should be educating these guys, saying, hey, we appreciate what you came here to do, and we realize that you made a commitment and you sacrificed a lot for us. So at the least we can do is make sure we give the community the best version of who you are, and not some broken guy or some guy that's got a lot of problems going on.
Yep.
And I just gave you a shit ton of laundry, and go deal with it. Just call the VA.
Yeah,
call the VA. And
before I retired, before I was retired, that was one of the things that, at least on the Army side of the house, we were really starting to pay attention to, was at the very least preparing soldiers, preparing servicemen for what you might experience.
Right.
That was where the Grossman's book on combat, that really helped. And I think it helped a lot of my guys, but we started putting processes together to train that. Hopefully now we've gotten to the point where there is some training for the exit afterwards. When these things did happen, and you dealt with it, but you're still going to have, there's still going to be residuals. There's still going to be things that you're going to have to work through. Hopefully there's something there now. I hope there is.
Yeah. I mean, I hate in the world sometimes, as we progress, we get stupider, and we should be getting smarter. And I just hope this is one of the areas where we can get smarter about, is realizing that these guys, when they're signing up, they're coming from a world of unknown, right? I mean, they're right out. Most of them are leaving their home for the very first time.
Exactly. Going, when 9/11.
Yeah, you're super impressionable at those moments in time, man. When you're first getting out, that's your first impression of what it's like being without mom and dad, right? And living on your own, and it's a oh shit factor.
It is,
because it ain't sleeping until 9 o'clock, jumping on your video game, eating snacks and shit all day long. It ain't that life no more, right? You get told where the hell to go and everything. At least when we were in the Marine Corps, man, it is literally counted down. I mean, I could go to use the head, and I am getting counted down on a urinal to be done. You know what I mean? Like, that was,
let's go.
Yeah. I mean, that's really, it's a shock and awe thing for a lot of these guys, because I watched Full Metal Jacket. That was my experience. I only had enough time to basically kind of watch Full Metal Jacket before I joined, because it all happened very quick when I decided I was going to do it. Because I figured, if I'm going to do it, I need to do it fucking now. And if they tell me no, I ain't doing it, then I want to do it now, right? Like, sign me up, get me going. Because I know if give me a couple weeks from now, I could be in another state of mind, right?
Yeah.
Like, hit me when I'm ready. And they were kind of ready to send me right away. But So when you got out, man, and you everything was finally done for yourself. I know you didn't stop and you kept on going, and a lot of us, and I don't know if you were prepared a little bit differently. I don't know if the Army National Guard kind of prepared you kind of where because you got to go live, right?
Yeah.
Do it and then go back home and live your normal life, so to speak. Where a lot of us, when you're active duty, man, you go send away and you're living with these people. You can be living with them for years on end, or you could do a whole term with them, whatever. So I don't know, does that kind of help you soften the blow when you get out, in terms of like you're already kind of used to that, going in and out?
Absolutely. Right? Yeah, it totally did. Even, it was from 2003 until 2016, the end of 2016 when I was retired. I had been, it was an adjustment, sure. Everybody's going to have a period of adjustment, but it was right away. I spent a month or two, maybe a month and a half. We were traveling. We had to go, visiting, seeing people. Eventually, it was my 9 to 5 job, Monday through Friday, is trying to find a job. That's what I had to. That's my mindset.
Right.
And what the hell did I want to do? I don't know, because I didn't think I was going to get my commission back.
Right.
And my commission expired in 2003 or 4. My peace officer. Mm-hmm. So what the heck am I going to do? I was looking at a lot of different things. I actually accepted a job with Child Protective Services as a child sexual assault investigator in San Antonio.
Oh wow!
And I was going through that process. I was officially offered the job. I was going through their background stuff, and I got a call one day. Somebody had seen my resume at the Council of Governments here in Texas. I don't know about elsewhere, but in Texas we have basically state level services at the regional level. We got 254 counties in the state of Texas. That's a shit ton of counties.
Yeah, so Texas is freaking big.
Yeah, it is. So at the regional level, we have what we call councils of government. Ours is a 7-county region around Brazos County. And they asked me to be there if I would be interested in a opening that they had as a Homeland Security strategic planner. Well, okay, yeah, let's talk about this. And it was a bit of a pay cut from San Antonio, but hey, I was staying home. This was home for me. And so yeah, that worked out. When I started doing that, I started there actually, was it Valentine's Day of 2017, I believe, or right before Valentine's Day. And then that summer, I got my commission back. I had been emailing and talking with the state, TCOL, we call it here, the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. And they said, I finally got hold of somebody, and I said, look, they've been telling me no, they've been telling me just here, what do am I, not, is this not going to happen for me or what? And she said, well, just send me everything. Okay. I spent the weekend, gathered all my documents, scanned everything in, sent everything on Monday. And I didn't hear anything for about a month. And I got I got an email at work. And I kind of looked at it like, wait a second. I sent an email back, got another email. I called back. I was like, look, break it down Barney style for me. Am I a cop or not? And she said, yeah, you're good to go. You're an over 180-day rehire. You're golden.
Nice.
That was like 15 years over 180 days, but okay.
I'll take it.
And it was so I swore back in with the sheriff's office here. And like I said, right before I retired, I was doing some intelligence stuff with DEA in Waco. I was just kind of getting my feet back in. I wasn't sure I was ever going to be sworn again, but one thing I won't recommend, I was sworn by the sheriff's office as a reserve deputy, but then working on all the intelligence stuff that I was at the COG, they got a position for an intelligence analyst, and they offered it to me, and the sheriff's office did. So I took that, but it was a civilian position. So I was sworn by the sheriff's office as a reserve, but I'm acting as an intelligence analyst as a civilian position with the sheriff's office. Was really, really, really freaking weird. And we just couldn't make it work. Ultimately is what it boiled down to. That and the fact that I've been gone for so long, and working, at national security level type stuff. 15 years of that, I just developed a different way of thinking, and it just wasn't right for me anymore. So I retired my commission February of last year, around my birthday. And it was right after that the VA said, no, it's the PTSD. And that's when the whole 100% thing started working. And
everything just aligned itself. Huh?
Yeah. When they gave me the VA gave me the 100%, I told the SO, that's it, I'm done. Bye.
Right. Yeah.
And I've been doing Crime Stoppers for several years already. That's what I ended up sticking with.
Yeah. So let's talk about Crime Stoppers.
Okay.
Let's let's go ahead and we'll bring this up and kind of talk about it.
Well, Crime Stoppers, a lot of people don't realize Crime Stoppers is actually a nonprofit. It's not associated with any particular law enforcement agency. At the local level, we have MOUs, memorandums of understanding, with various law enforcement agencies. But we exist as a go-between. A lot of people don't want to talk to law enforcement. And I totally get that. They're involved in some way, shape, or form, or whatever the case may be. They have some part to play in this crime, or some association with this individual who's wanted. So they don't like to talk. This goes back to 1976, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and an incident, a robbery that turned into a fatality shooting. And they were trying to get some information, trying to figure out how to, nobody wanted to talk. So they put this idea together, get some people, raise some money, and they did a reenactment on the local news station. And sure enough, it worked. They paid the tipster, and they made an arrest. And that's how Crime Stoppers started. 1980, it was incorporated into law in the state of Texas. And 1981, Brazos County Crime Stoppers formed, and that's when we were incorporated. And we've been doing good stuff since then. 43 years now. $4 million worth of drugs and narcotics and properties seized. About 3 million. Shit, I wish. 3,000 fugitives plus cases closed. So it's been good. It's been really, really good. Since Uvalde, or no, I'm sorry, not since Uvalde, since the Santa Fe shooting at the school south of Houston. I think it's south of Houston. Since that, Governor Abbott, they put a whole school safety plan together, and Crime Stoppers was part of that. So we provide the same technology that we use for safe, secure communication and ensuring anonymity. We provide that to the schools as well. So that's 150,000 kids here, I think. We did, not 150,000, 15,000 kids. Geez, my number, I'm all screwed up today. But
Don't worry, I'm screwed up every day.
it's a club we should start. But we've got a lot of kids here. We've got 2 big school districts. We provide the same app and the same service for them. And it's a lot of times it's Billy's being mean to me. Somebody's bullying somebody. Somebody's talking some shit. But we get narcotics tips. We get threats, weapons in school, all sorts of stuff. It's a great tool for the schools. We got 300 and something, 360 some, I think, criminal tips last year, and we did a lot of good with those. But we got over 1,500 tips from the schools.
Gosh dang.
Yeah, so we do
you have to sift through a lot of that, then, huh?
Yeah, and
because not all tips a good tip, I imagine.
No, not at all, not at all. But it's been a really good program. We're at the point now where the previous coordinator here in Brazos County, Chris Kurt, he retired at the end of 2020. He was the sheriff. He'd been sheriff for 24 years. He was a coordinator of Crime Stoppers for 32 years, and he'd been with the sheriff's office overall for 40 years by the time he finally retired. And it was his recommendation. I was already on the board of directors. It was his idea that I take over, and that's a lot. That's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is this is not a sheriff's office. I know the sheriff has always been a big proponent of it, but
this is another key element that I don't think a lot of people know about. Is these school safety tips and it gives you awareness about apps and stuff like this. So this isn't just, catching the bad guy. This is also raising awareness of preventative maintenance and stuff like that. Right.
Exactly. When I go out to presentations, when we have a display set up someplace, all these tips are out there. Apps that you should, if you're a parent, apps that you should be aware of. Your kids got them on their phone. We'll do a 9 o'clock routine. We partner with the PDs and sheriff's office, and a reminder: hey, it's 9 o'clock. Are your lights on outside? Is your car locked? Did you take your guns out of your car? You dumbass! They don't do you any fucking good. Somebody steals the damn thing.
Right.
Did you, if you're a business owner, did you take these steps? Because it's all about prevention. And that actually goes to another thing that we're doing now is we're taking training out to the public. So several years ago, before the last election, we did all the George Floyd riots, all the Antifa shit, all the shit that was going on, all the anti-law enforcement stuff all across the country. Mm-hmm. And law enforcement is already doing more with less. It's hard to find cops. It's hard to find good qualified cops.
Well, let's just face it. You're outnumbered. I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah.
No matter what the force is.
So we did. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So we did. I was gathering information from all across the country on, how are these groups targeting law enforcement? What are they doing? Who's at risk? What, and I'm pushing that information out as I get it. And our current sheriff, he was the jail administrator at the time. He emailed me. He said, "Hey, could you kind of expand on some of this stuff for our civilian staff at the jail?" And it got me thinking, well, shit, yeah, they wear the same damn uniform we do. They wear the same badge we do. It just says jailer, not deputy on it. But they're unarmed, and they don't have anywhere near the training and experience that a lot of us do. So yeah, that every time they walk out the door, they're at risk. So I started kind of digging into that stuff, and it became a training, or actually became a big training that I had to scale back some. But really, it delves into now pre-event indicators, what they call left of bang. Okay, there's a lot of great training out there in self-defense and medical and emergency medicine and all the stuff that has to happen after a bad event happens. A lot of great training on that, but we don't really delve into how to spot some of those things before something bad happens. And in particular, how do you articulate that? How do you explain what it is that you're seeing? And I hooked up with a guy named Yusuf Badu. He runs a company called Emergence Detect, and or Emergence. Anyway, just Google him. He was in the Marine Corps, and he started working on some of this. Actually, we were in Baghdad at the same time on my second tour, and it was really we were on opposite sides of the Euphrates. He was on this side, I was on this side.
See the small world we're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. But they were working to identify insurgents, and in particular a sniper. They were after the Juba sniper at the time, and all of the science that they've developed, and really they really go into the science of it. What is it that's making the hair on the back of your neck stand up? What is it? Those unconscious cues that you're born with. We're animals, just like any other. How do you understand the whole predator and prey thing, and where you fall on that? Who's predator, who's prey.
Right.
When your subconscious starts identifying cues that, that's what makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. It's telling you something is wrong with the situation. But how do you articulate that? It takes all that work that they did, plus incorporate stuff that FBI and Secret Service and a bunch of others have done. The alert people here in Texas, the school safety people, for active shooters in particular. But really, it takes all of that, and it applies across the board. How do you not only understand what it is, but how do you articulate what it is that you're seeing? Because law enforcement, if law enforcement is going to be able to do something with it, they have to be able to articulate that in a probable cause statement. They have to have probable cause in order to do X, Y, and Z. They have to be able to develop reasonable suspicions and be able to get to the probable cause piece.
Right.
So it helps law enforcement. The better you can articulate what it is that you're seeing, what's normal, and what is it that you're seeing that is abnormal about this person, this place, this event, this whatever. So it's all about prevention. It's about kind of stopping things before it gets to that point. So we're bringing that to the public for free.
And well, that's the great thing too, because I got to say, we have become very much of a reactive type of culture, right?
Yeah.
We wait for something to happen before we do something about it. Instead of, hey, this has already happened over here, here, and here. Why don't we make sure that doesn't happen here? Well, it hasn't happened here. Everybody's going to say that till it does, though, right? Exactly. I mean, that's just the thing. It never happens there until it does, and do you want to be part of that statistics, or would you like to be able to possibly prevent that from happening? Hey, maybe it doesn't happen. And that's the great part about it. But at least you have a measure put in place that could possibly stop it or make less of the situation where it could be. Especially, I'm gonna probably, school shootings. I'm probably sure that this is not going to be popular with a lot of people, but same thing. They don't want to put an armed, security guard on these campuses, and I'm not going to say this for every state, because I do live in California and we have very strict gun laws, and, everybody abides by the law here in California completely. So, if they see no guns allowed here, they're not going to bring them,
Of course not.
But it just always seems to be a crazy topic that we always seem to come right back around, because we didn't prevent it from happening. My thing is why is this on the news even now, right? Like, we are a society that we have the ability to be smarter in stuff, but we tend to lean back on the stupidity part. I don't understand it. Like,
I don't either.
when we should be always constantly trying to go forward, we want to, take some steps back, or, or not use our brains, or let other people think for us, thinking that they're going to solve it all.
I wish there was a magic pill that would, yeah.
Right. But we need more, groups like the Crime Stoppers and stuff like that. I mean, that's why there's, some communities even have neighborhood watches and things like that, because they want to take a stand. They want to prevent that. They don't want their street being jacked. They don't want their school being jacked. They don't want a shooting or this or that. They want to try to stop those things. And believe you, if we continue to live this world of make it easy for the bad guy, they're going to capitalize on us all day long.
They already are. Look
exactly.
California's been hit hard with the retail theft. So the masses
going in, bang smashing, and bang and grab, or whatever the hell they're calling it.
And I honestly, so you go back to the day when when I was growing up, 70s and 80s. Yeah, it was nothing to see, a bunch of us were going hunting after school. My pickup truck sitting out there, it's got a gun in the gun rack.
Right.
But
no harm, no foul there, Yeah, you're going to go out there and have fun with your boys.
People nowadays don't grow up around guns.
No. They freak out when they see them.
They freak out when they see them. The only thing they know about gun is what they see on TV or what they play in video games. Sure. We were trained from a young age. This is a gun. This is how you handle it. This is how you be safe with it. And you better do that, because I'm going to bust your ass if I catch you doing something wrong with it. That was how we grew up with it. They're tools. They're nothing more than tools. People don't understand that nowadays. And people, like NRA. Oh, you want training for people? Well, yeah, they gotta have some training nowadays. They don't grow up with. They didn't grow up with guns like we used to. But I think honestly, in some cases, I think law enforcement, we've shot ourselves in the foot by telling people, don't get involved. This is a dangerous person. Whatever the situation is, don't try to make an arrest yourself. Don't try to intervene. You're going to get hurt. Call law enforcement. Okay. Well, that's all well and good. And I understand the reasoning why. We don't want more people to get hurt. We want people who are trained to deal with this situation. But I don't carry a cop in my back pocket. Nobody else does. How long is it going to take for law enforcement to get there? I've been in active shooter stuff here. We've had active shooters, and people aren't responsible enough for themselves anymore. I think is a big part of it. They don't take the responsibility on.
No, there's no accountability.
There's no responsibility, no accountability.
100%. And that's a sad thing. I mean, it's crazy. We didn't get as far as we did without weapons, right? I mean, that's the craziest part about it. I mean, without weapons, we wouldn't be America. There's just, the problem is that we're not educating people enough. We're not, because we've rather induce fear into them and rather educate them. So let's just pump a whole bunch of fear into these guys so they won't do it. But when they want to go do it, they do it irresponsibly because no one ever educated them.
Yeah.
And I've seen a person literally, like, you give them a gun and they're like, it turns into it's a slimy, like a fish or something. Like, well, relax,
it's not going to bite you.
Yes, right. I mean, I think everybody just thinks you literally got to pull the trigger, and there's things that got to happen. I mean, for you to get shot or shoot the weapon, I get muzzle awareness and all that stuff, but when you act like it's some kind of a, relax, I think, we got to get, and I'm not saying everybody just needs to be toting around like the wild, wild west or anything. But unfortunately, we do need more of the community to step up.
Yeah.
And the part about it is we've all have gotten to this place in the world where we want someone else to do it for us. Even like presidents, right? People think that if I elect this guy, he's going to solve the world problems, right? Like, I haven't watched it yet, right? I have not watched any one man come into place and change the world for us like that, So
Yeah.
we put a lot of our faith and our abilities into these people that we don't even know, right? First off, we don't even know them. We don't know much about them, but we want to go, because they're going to do it for us. They're going to change everything. No, the problem is we, the people, are the ones that are supposed to be making the changes.
Yes.
They're supposed to be keeping our changes in order and things of that nature. But we've turned the key over to our government and we've allowed them to control us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're getting to a level of people just want to sit back and just let things happen, and they don't want to say nothing. They don't want to get involved. And that's why we got these people running out with these baskets, and then everybody's like, oh, well, that sucks.
It's too much. It's too much work.
Right.
I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get involved. Somebody else will do it.
Yep.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's not my problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it is, it's all of our problems. If we live in a community and we as a community can stop a lot of this from happening and make it the unpopular thing to do.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh gosh, damn, last time Freddie went over there and did that, he got stoned. So I don't know if I want to go over there, bro, because Freddie got stoned last time, man. You know what I mean? And it's going to make you think about something because something happened. And and there's other foreign countries like I think it's Japan or something. They cut your fingers off for stealing. Like, they will start chopping fingers off and things of that nature if you steal from. There's a lot of places that they don't mess around. They still do stoning. They hang in front of their community.
Yeah.
For doing things that they're not supposed to do. So that way, everybody else is like, I don't want to be that guy. In the middle of the community getting hung. But, we've coddled, and I know that that's never going to be how we'll ever go again here ever in the U.S., but we got to do something, man, because
we do.
The lawlessness is becoming out of hand to the point where we don't even have enough officers and police officers to get to the calls. I know here over, like where I live for 4th of July, it's a no fireworks zone, period. We live in the desert. It's right now it's 107 degrees. 4th of July, it was like 100 degrees and people were out there, mortars and everything. And then, that's getting everybody up in arms. So they're flooding the cops lines with firework calls. So, how many calls were dropping when there was shootings, stabbings, robbings still going on.
Yeah.
But and these guys know too, man. They know the high volume times when they can kind of get away with things more than other times, right? Because let's face it, we do have a small force, and it's not the popular thing sometimes to be a law enforcement anymore. It's not the popular thing to be go in the military anymore.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And think about this too. With our law enforcement, you're familiar with Posse Comitatus, right?
No.
Posse Comitatus was passed, I believe, after the Civil War. It restricts the military's ability to operate domestically. Okay, the military is not law enforcement. The military is
unless
not
martial law is in place, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of restrictions on what what the military can do to assist law enforcement.
Right.
In a lot of countries, the military is the law enforcement. That's it.
Right.
There's nothing else. So think about this. Think about this. We talk about, what road our country is on. Think about another 9/11. Okay. Who responds to let's say it's a coordinated active shooter. Let's say it's a series of coordinated active shooters groups. Okay. Not, not in the realm of the impossible. Who has to deal with that? It's law enforcement.
Right.
Okay. If we've got Al Qaeda or we've got Russian Spetsnaz here, or whatever group, whatever military or quasi-military, paramilitary group, that whatever their thinking is that brought them here, who has to deal with that? It's law enforcement. How long is it going to be? How long do you think it's going to be before 18th Airborne or the 82nd or 101st or 10th Mountain Division? How long before these quick reaction guys actually get on the ground to actually do something? It's going to be a long while. It's law enforcement that has to deal with that. And they've got a lot of responsibilities. Law enforcement's got a lot of responsibilities beyond that, today. But we hamstring them to the point that what the hell is going to happen? If something like this happens. It's craziness. It really is.
It really it's hard to watch, and it's hard to see, and it's frustrating to watch. Like I said, it especially when your community starts turning on your law enforcement,
yeah.
Right? And they don't even. There was a point in time where they didn't want they were trying to abolish here in California. I want to say it was trying to get rid of police. So like you are supposed to community police yourself.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Wow, bro. Like I just don't
Oregon.
Don't think people understand.
Portland, Oregon, Austin, Texas. Like what are you people thinking?
Yeah.
It
is these big cities that just think they get beyond themselves, right? And they allow so much stuff in their place that it starts to change the way everyone else is thinking. The hard part about it is the longer we leave the border open, American values, American ways will start to diminish, right? Because now we're just at a level of everybody's coming in, and not only are they just coming in, but they're forcing their will, their ways, their religion, their laws, all these things. They want you to live their way. It's not, hey, we want to come over here and live the American dream. No, we want to come over here and
make
you guys can
make this just as shitty as where you left.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, hey guys, come on over. I know it's shitty there. Well, boy, come over here and do the same thing for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind. See, I think there's a difference where we, to have legalization where we do have people coming over here, but make them where it's not just come on over and take advantage of every one of our systems. No, why don't you come over and you can contribute to our system and make this place, how it was built, right? Yep. On our original, people that came over here and migrated and actually really wanted to come over here and make America a better place, right? Yeah. And I mean, that we were built on that.
Yeah, and make themselves better. I've seen so many, who come here and they're only here for one reason. They live together, and it's usually the guys. The guys show up over here, and I'm sure there's women. Don't stone me to death for saying it's just guys, but no, they come here. They try to make they're trying to make a better life for themselves back where they're from. And I totally get it. I totally support it.
Sure.
It's a bunch of guys they all live together. They're all doing construction. It's like 20 people in one house. And they're all working different shifts, and they're working their asses off. They're making money here. They're building things and learning things here. They're taking that back to their country where they're from. And they're buying land and building homes and, making their families better. I'm all for that kind of stuff. Absolutely.
Yep.
But it all comes back to just do it legally.
Right. And that's it. If you want to come over here on a visa, right? Or like a work visa and work, for some time, that's fine. Because otherwise, bro, what it comes down to is when Americans start to need healthcare, when the Americans start to need this or that or the other, it's going to be convoluted for everyone that actually sits there and pays their taxes,
Yeah.
pays to go to the damn doctor and wait for hours on end to be seen during their appointment time.
Yeah.
I mean, allowing tons and tons of people come over here with health issues already, right? We're doing no health screens whatsoever. So
Yeah.
whatever they're coming over here with, they're also putting that into our hospitals. They're starting to, put pressure on the hospitals. They're starting to get arrested. So there goes the jails, and now we got to feed them and house them. I mean, it could just go on and
Oh,
on,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
where if we can just get these guys to do, be legal and make it where there's a system that doesn't take, forever, where they're all wanting to be here illegal.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's probably the other part is a lot of it's convoluted. That's America loves to make every damn system crazy, where you end up hating the system that they make you,
Yeah.
they put you in, because it is
There's just so many. Yeah.
there's so many of them, and they're either under work or those people there don't care no more because they've been screamed at 1,000 times over again by
Yeah.
someone who's frustrated about being put into the stinking system and thrown around like a volleyball.
It's rough times we're in. It's crazy times. It really is.
It
And
is.
the next few years are there's an old Chinese it's part of blessing, part of curse. May you live in interesting times.
Well, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I mean, we do definitely, I think times are getting interesting, and it's crazy how much hate is put into our country, right? And everybody's getting very divisive, and you got to choose a side, and I mean, it's almost forcing you to have to choose a side, right? Because both sides are so radical on both ends of the thing that it's almost, it is so
There is no
far
middle ground.
between each other. There's no middle ground anymore.
Yeah.
It's very far between because everybody has gotten extreme with their beliefs or their ways, right? And I've never seen it so toxic in my life.
No, and none of us have. None of us have. Not since 1860. And that's the scary thought. That is the scary thought. We have.
Again, we're not getting smarter.
No.
We're once again going to repeat history. We're not
learning from it.
Not learning from it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they do say history repeats itself, and it's a shame.
It's true
that we would even allow it, right? And versus the thing is that everybody holds on to whatever they want to hold on to, and then their beliefs become super embedded, and then they're very closed off to anything and everything around them, no matter what it be, right? I mean, and we're getting that level where everybody's set in their ways, and I don't give a fuck how you feel about it,
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be my way. It's the political parties. You have to. This is what we believe in. If you don't believe in what we believe in, you can't be one of us.
Yeah, and it will bastardize you. Yeah, it's kind of sad to watch it all go down, and at the end of the day, you kind of start to. I've had a lot of realization, I think, with the outcome of a lot of way things are going, and it's been very eye-opening to say the least to a lot of things. But I know we're kind of getting a little off there, but we could definitely keep going down that dang path. Now, if someone ever wanted to actually be a Crime Stopper, is there, a certain amount of training you need to be involved in that, or how does it work that way?
So no, it doesn't work that way at all. For a position like mine, obviously there's a lot to it. For a coordinator, actually dealing with the tips, yes, there's a lot that goes into it, but your local Crime Stoppers, wherever you are in the country, if you have a Crime Stoppers organization, they're a nonprofit, and I guarantee you they are looking for board members, they're looking for advisory members, they're looking for donations if you want to donate, they're looking for here's the thing, social media nowadays, most of us don't do crime reenactments anymore because we have multiple stations, TV stations all over the place. We're thinking about doing them in-house if we're ever going to do them, and push those out. But social media is where it's at. And when you see your local Crime Stoppers putting out a bolo, be on the lookout for. This person is our most wanted. This is our top 10 most wanted. Like it, follow them, share it. Share it, share it, share it. That is the more people can be looking at their phone and be on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or Threads or Nextdoor or wherever to play.
Rumble.
We're on all of them. We're on all of them now.
Yeah.
You see it, share it, because it spreads our bolos. It gets it to a bigger audience. Last month, we for the first time broke 100,000 viewers.
That's outstanding.
Let's
get some eyeballs on it
for the first time, and we had a lot of success with our top 10. That's the kind of thing that helps. That helps absolutely. Right. So help us by sharing. If you want to donate, please donate. If you want to donate in kind, if you're a business owner and you have whatever that you'd like to donate, we need a new car. Actually, we've got a county car that we can't use anymore now because I'm no longer employed by the county. So we need to get us out to shows and stuff. Yeah, we'll put a wrap on that one, put lights and stuff on it. It's all good. But it's all about spreading the message, if we need help with something, absolutely, we're going to reach out. We need money. We need money to operate. We need money to bring the training to the public and bring it for free. We got to fund it somehow. So, there's a lot of ways to get involved. There's a lot of ways to help out. And some of them are just as easy as just click and share.
That's outstanding. Yeah. And, that's the free way to help out, right? Too. It doesn't even hurt you to share, like, and all that stuff. It's the easiest way to support anybody out there with stuff, right? Yeah, man. I mean, it sounds amazing though. I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't something you had a passion for. That's one thing that I notice about anybody that's involved in the nonprofit world. It's a lot of work, and it's a selfless act, and you're still contributing to your community in some form or fashion. And I mean, getting the bad guys off the streets, I'm sure the law enforcement is equally appreciative, probably sometimes, to have someone else in their corner to help them out, so to speak, because unfortunately we're living in that world now where crime is becoming more of the popular thing, or it's the way people are getting by, or things are getting expensive, and this or that and the other.
And law enforcement's like everybody else, we're doing more with less. The more load that as we were leaning towards a new paradigm of what we call intelligence-led policing. The more information that I can generate, the more tips and that point law enforcement and cut down some of the time that they have to invest. Better cases, better arrests, cases closed. That helps everybody.
Does that typically how it works, where you guys coordinate with them and just say, hey, we got a tip for you guys. We know this, that, and the other. This is this information. They're wanted for, X,
Yep.
Y, and Z. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's exactly how it works. And, without getting into the nuts and bolts of it, but it's exactly how it works. And one thing I'll tell tipsters is it takes time. If you keep checking back in and your case, whatever tip it is still listed as under investigation, it's usually a very, very good thing. If it's because a lot of times it'll be, this is not something we can work with. This is, we already know this information. We already sometimes it helps towards it helps clarify some things. It's good information, but yeah, it's already known or whatever.
Nice.
But if it's still listed as under investigation, a lot of times that means law enforcement already has looked at it, and they've realized that this may be bigger than what you even think. So it's going to take time it takes time for law enforcement to actually put together enough evidence to where they can do X, Y, and Z, to where they have a case that is prosecutable. Sometimes I've seen them take a year plus, year and a half on some of these tips under investigation. But it turned out to be something so much larger that, it's on the news tonight. It's on the news tonight because they did this big old drug bust, and they arrested these people and that people, and they seized all this drugs and guns and cars.
Awesome.
And it took a year and a half of investigating, but this is what the result was. It takes time sometimes.
Now, you guys celebrate a lot of times too? Like if you you catch one of the most wanted, is it like a hell yeah? Like it's got to be a feel good moment, feather in the cap.
I have literally had this is an old case. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I've literally had a tipster. You got share my phone location with friends. I literally had a tipster writing in real time to me. Okay, this person is here. This person is now here. This person is now here.
Ooh,
where they were, and we had an entire team tracking them, and that was a good bust.
That one sound like they made it a lot easier for you guys. At least, I mean, tipsters sometimes can either help you or also send you on other ways too. I mean,
absolutely
lead you on wild goose chase. That's the other part. You never know sometimes how credible your tip could be. Right now, there's always the bad guys that have buddies out there too that are trying to get them off their tail. So but you gotta, every tip is a tip worth checking out though, right? I mean,
absolutely. It's all worth checking out. Okay. I understand the drug dealer turned in the other drug dealer because he's on his turf. Gotcha. You're trying to expand your turf, and it's okay. I'll pay you. I'll probably get it back next week when you're my top 10.
Yeah, 100%.
It'll probably be Steve. It's all good. It's all good. I'm not worried about it. But it gets problems off the street.
Yeah, absolutely. That's outstanding, man. So, well, hey, man, I really appreciate you coming on and talking about all this great stuff. Is there any things that you want to talk about before we leave that you may have left out that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
For everybody who's a vet, who's getting out or who's gotten out, and you hadn't quite figured out what direction you want to go, whatever door opens, don't be afraid. Step through it, because you never know. I wasn't an intelligence guy, and I certainly really had nothing to do with Crime Stoppers before I got involved, and here I am. So, there's a lot of us out there. We got you back, and just try it. Go for it. Do something. It may not work out, but then again, it might. You never know if you don't try.
100%. Well, hey, man, like I said, I appreciate you coming on. I thank you for your service to our country, and I also appreciate everything you're still doing.
Thanks, Brian.
I said, we definitely need more people out there helping out with their communities and helping out the law enforcement around them. There's nothing wrong with stepping up and doing something good for the sake of the future, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you know, we're just trying to secure a better place for the younger generation.
absolutely.
But once again, brother, I appreciate you, man. We'll stay in
Thanks, Brandon.
contact. If you ever want to
You
come
too.
back on, there's always a seat available here for you.
I appreciate it.
Once again, thanks again, brother.
Thanks, Brandon. Take care.
You too, man. All right, friends and fam. Well, that's going to wrap up another great interview. If you guys haven't had the chance to go check out the website, it's over here. Oh, I can't. Oh, somewhere here. Yeah. Go check out Everyday's EDAS, USMCvet.com. Once again, that's EDAS, USMCvet.com. You can finally talk a little bit there. Also, if you guys ever want to email me, you need someone to talk to, or you just want to, you know, say what up, or if you want a nice little sticker, I got stickers. You know, email me every day is a Saturday, 365 at yahoo.com. Once again, don't let the day kick your ass. Make sure you're out there kicking it. Until next time, we'll see you guys.